What is happening, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Chris Ferguson. My partner to the right of me is Tristan Lauder, and today we have the opportunity to speak to one of the blokes that was half of what's being labelled as one of the best fights in Australian MMA history, the one and only Dimps Gillies. Dimps, how are you, mate? How's the thumb and hand healing up after the
Uh,
scrap there?
I'm good, thank you. It's feeling much better. And I've got full range of motion now. It's been a roller coaster of a ride since. My emotions have been all over the place. I was really happy, and then it came off, and then I was really down and out, and I was trying to stay positive, but it was just really hard to because in my head I wanted to get back in there. In my head I needed to keep the ball rolling, the momentum going, but I just you know injury kept me out, and then just a roller coaster emotionally. But I'm in the best place I've been in since lately, and I'm feeling hopeful.
Wow, man, awesome. Yeah, I know. Like after kind of taking an injury like that and having some time outside the cage, like it can be kind of difficult. So I was just wondering, like, I guess talk to us a little bit about that roller coaster if you could, and just was there any kind of silver linings in it, and did it give you a different perspective on fighting, maybe?
Yeah, it was just more I was thinking like of things before then, and like I just magnified everything throughout my career, like, and one of the biggest things that was making me angry about it is as some of the pays that I had fought for, and that was one of the main emotions that I kept falling back into was just getting upset about some of the things and the money that I made, considering the money I made from that bout alone, shed on most of them. So I've been fighting a lot of great fighters, and I take nothing away from Josh, but that pay that I made with him, I should have been making with the likes of Brenton Mumford and Blake Donnelly and Blood Diamond and David Martinez, because they're really fucking good fighters. So just that was one of the main emotions that I felt I was in a loop with. Um, just the regrets, not selling myself short next time, and settling for nuts and nuggets, I guess.
What what do you think a reasonable paycheck for someone fighting on a local card, say Eternal, say XFC, say one of the Australian local cards? What do you feel personally that they should be getting per fight?
I reckon, because it's one of the most dangerous sports in terms of the things you have to do to your body just to get it into the ring, into the cage. So, I would say, like they say, there's so many fights you get before it's like 1,000 a round, but I reckon 1,000 a round seems pretty fair if if you if you come out and you fight and you put on a show, and people like to see you fight, because there's a lot of people that fight comfortably, and there's nothing against them. If you can win, and you can win comfortably, and you take no damage, and Floyd Mayweather sort of tactic in MMA would be like grappling someone, holding them, not doing too much, but just securing the rounds. And like, there's nothing against that, but it's not a style that wins brownie points in my head. So I think if you fight like that, you'd need to fight often to make that sort of coin, I think. But if you put on a show and you perform and you fight and you put your heart into it, and everyone loves what they say, you get the crowd going. I think you should be making about 2,500 plus for just showing up, I reckon.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, like, how does it work on the local promotion scene? Like, how do you kind of negotiate your pay rate and stuff like that? Like, the promoters or whatever, they approach you with a certain rate, or can you kind of push back and say, hey, motherfucker, I'm worth this much money? Like, how does it work?
Uh, uh, Personally, I've done most of it by myself, so that's where I went wrong to begin with. You can't be the fighter and the manager at the same time because there's the conflict of interest there. So if your manager's your manager, they can really sell you and blah 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 and get you this and get you that. Whereas I was doing it by myself, so I think in that terms I can't really speak on the what to do and what not to do. So if you what not to do is probably do it by yourself and take the fights as the fighter and not the coach or the manager. Like let your team discuss it, and I'm sure if it's too low for them, they probably won't put you on or something. So but I think a manager might be the way to go. I don't have one personally myself, and I don't really plan on getting one because I just I don't get the role for myself personally, or while I would pay for someone to manage my career. To be honest.
Um, man, I saw highlights of that fight being posted. Absolutely, man, it was all over Twitter. It was all over Instagram. How much attention did that garner you, and were there any sort of opportunities that come out of that for yourself?
I've just got a lot of followers really on Instagram. Few friend requests on Facebook, but otherwise, it didn't really do too much for me. If I didn't break my finger, if I didn't break my thumb, the opportunities would have like been coming from every direction. But because I injured myself and I was unsure when I would come back, and I'm still unsure when I can compete next. It sort of probably would have put off any real opportunities that would have been presented to me if I didn't hurt myself and I could have jumped in there a month later or something. Because I did get approached about a sponsorship, and I said, yeah, blah blah blah, and then like uh, I went silent until I chucked on the glove and I was posting my first bag session with my glove on, and then I got a message back from them about it. But it sort of put me off the fact that you know, but I guess if you're going to sponsor someone, you sort of want them to be able to fight at least or compete, I guess, because that's where you'll get most exposure. But yeah, not much, not
Yeah,
many. But when I come back,
skill, man.
I definitely see the opportunities opening for me.
I reckon even just with like the kind of influx in followers and stuff like that, you see like athletes these days, more followers, you can get sponsorships that way as well. So maybe look into that as well in the future. You could get some, Instagram
Yeah,
sponsorships, Instagram
no,
famous,
I'm
but Instagram
still,
famous.
I'm definitely grateful for everyone that followed me after the fight, because most of them were Josh Kuhne followers, and they just, they didn't jump ship, but they just
They
followed
thought
me
this
because
dude
I'm a
can bang.
yeah,
Yes.
what I mean. I'm like a mirrored image of who they're following prior to it. So why not follow me as well? And most of those people probably only got into MMA because of Josh, or started following it because of Josh. So you know the opportunities definitely open for every fighter if you have that sort of reach as he does, and get people on board the sport. It's definitely a good thing for everyone.
So are we going to see Dimps Gillies calling out all these big fighters from now on? Is that what you're saying?
Um, yeah, I would say I'm gonna wait until that I feel confident, and then I'm not gonna call out anyone specifically, but I'm definitely gonna only be chasing like the legitimate, the top guys, the best guys, the ones that can do the damage, because there's no there's no there's no fun in fighting someone that probably is like a debut, like, someone that debuts and wants to fight me because they, it'll take them somewhere. Like there's nothing in it for me, and I don't think those are the sort of fights I'd want anyway. The best in Australia or NZ or even anywhere would probably suit and tailor my style better.
What do you have you changed your mind at all? Because after the fight with Josh, you were pretty not keen on going for the eternal lightweight strap. Change your mind on that at all, or you just out for the biggest and best fights, and that's literally it?
No, I would always fight for the title. But as I said, the 10 minutes extra in the cage that I had to spend in there, given my style, I definitely want that pay to come up probably a lot more because, well, a lot. I'm not even meaning a lot more. I'm meaning just something that'll make me want to fight for 25 minutes. Because at the moment, 15 minutes for me against someone that'll match me and match the same energy like Josh would definitely be enough for me to get that sort of that thrill and what is it? It's like it's therapy for me. So it's something that I like to do as often as I can without like trying to kill myself because it helps me. It's like a release for me. I can get it in sparring, I can get it in training, but there's no better release than actually being locked in a cage or in a ring and having to duke your uh, way out of it.
Yeah, man. And you definitely did that, at Eternal 65. Bloody hell. Um, could you
That's
talk
it.
to us
That's
a
it.
little bit about that, being in that cage with like fans outside just screaming at you, that kind of all of the atmosphere of that moment. Like, how did that feel to be in the middle of all that?
I was definitely surreal because I've had crazy crowds, but they only got crazy when they seen the excitement or they seen exciting things that made them crazy. But straight from the get go, like Kuhne brings in a crazy crowd, so the noise was there straight from the walkout. The noise was just constant, and it was just unreal. But I don't really get too wrapped up in any of it. I don't. I'm just me in there, so I don't really I don't take, I don't, what is it? I'm not too, what is it, invested in any of that in the moment. So afterwards, it's like something that makes me feel good and, I feel alive and feel good that I could make or help make people get crazy and have a great night. But otherwise, when I'm in there, I know what I need to do and I'm only there for me. So, yeah, the crowd plays dividends when I'm in there and we're banging and banging, and you hear it. That's when it plays a factor for me because it's something that I'll just keep investing into because it's there. It's encouraging me. It's in that sense it's really good. But otherwise, I could probably fight without a crowd and do just as well.
Do you feel like would you fight different without a crowd? Do you think? So obviously, I mean, a lot of UFC fighters have said it sucks at the apex without the crowd and all the rest of it, and we do tend to see more exciting performances when there is a crowd involved. Does that have a massive impact on you specifically?
Yeah, I would say in terms of encouraged me to be wilder and more crazy and more willing to die in there. That's where it would play the part for me. But I reckon without a crowd, I'd probably be more smarter and I would be more calm and I would be like, it'll just be like a sparring session literally for me. But I'm probably gonna be hitting harder and more constantly. So, without a crowd I would probably be this technical brilliance or something. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I've never fought without one, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
Just out of curiosity, how far through the fight did you hurt your thumb?
I think it was in the second round. I know what punch it was, and it was pretty early in the second round. I went to the body, and because I kept going to it, there was a few there where I just literally, like, I telegraphed it, it started off really clean and they're hard to see, but then it got to the point where I was reaching for it, and one of the ones I reached for it, his body was open, and just as I went to land, he tucked his elbow last minute, and that was the one that broke the thumb for sure, and it was some like halfway through the second round or something.
Was it just? Sorry, you're right. You go, Tristan.
Go ahead, Chris. No, all you go.
No, was it just the one hand? Because I thought I saw you. It was both hands after the fight. You had something going on, or was it just the one?
The other hand, I always have problems with where that pain was, and I think it was like a hairline fracture or something, or there was something wrong with it. But I only really went to the hospital and blah blah blah, and I only really got the one hand scan because it was like definitely something was wrong with. I'd never seen it as, it was like a balloon. But the other hand, I think it was like what is it? It was definitely a hairline fracture or something. But I didn't get it X-rayed, I didn't get it scanned, and I didn't get it seen to. But it's actually healed pretty fine. I needed one hand to do stuff with, so as long as I got the worst one done, I was happy.
It was like a balloon.
Like a balloon. yeah. It was literally like a fucking balloon.
But you were talking about technical brilliance before, and I thought, like, watching that fight, even though there was the crowd and you were like obviously banging, like going for it, I was so impressed with, like, I guess how technical your boxing was in terms of your defense and stuff, man. Like, that was so honestly, like, beautiful to watch, the way you were slipping and moving and blocking everything that's coming with you, rolling with the punches. I was so impressed, man. It seemed like, like even Josh, even though his like kind of landing shots, they're all kind of glancing, right?
Yeah. I pay, all credit to my boxing coach, Steve Vajenko. I've worked a lot with him over the year and 5 months, and predominantly been heaps of boxing, and it's definitely transferred over excellently in MMA because they had the footwork and this and that, and most of my fights before training with Steve, I used to close the distance. If you ever watch any of my older fights before NTG, I always used to do this, like, you could see it was like a big step, it was like a gallop step, and like it still worked to an extent, but against someone like Josh, it definitely wouldn't have worked. It would have got me clipped. So most of that time I spent boxing, and it showcased that night.
Yeah, it kind of felt like you reached like a new level, right, in your career.
That's it. I think I need to do what I've done, but be more well-rounded. So I think my next fight, I'm going to be most dangerous because I'm going to have this flow to me, and I'm going to incorporate everything, even some takedowns I feel. And I feel the next fight is going to be one that doesn't go to the decision.
Have we got any sort of timeline at all on the next fight? Is there any? You said you're not sure what's going on with the hand at the moment.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go on Friday to get an X-ray and check up on how it's healed, and it should be fully healed. But I did say to Steve that September or October I should be able to box. But I was wanting to box before I'd done another MMA fight just to see how my thumb goes with padding, because I feel like subconsciously if I go straight into MMA, I'm not gonna throw that main weapon, which is that lead body rip, and that's been my main weapon in the last few MMA fights, and I don't want it to play a factor in my next fight. I want to be able to throw it and not think about it. So, but if I don't box, I definitely see myself fighting probably before April MMA, definitely, because by then my thumb's gonna be like brand new, brand new.
I meant to ask you this earlier. You gave up smoking hooter during the recovery. Is that right?
Yeah. I've been clean for I don't even know, but yeah.
How tough run for you, mate? Or was it all right?
Nah, it wasn't too bad. I think that's what played a factor in those emotions that I was talking about. How I was on a roller coaster, but it was more. It just gave me more time to think because when I was smoking and stuff, you could smoke and just be stuck in thoughts, but you're not actually really thinking about anything that matters, or you just drift off and whatnot. But it wasn't the first week and a half to 2 weeks were pretty hard, but everything after that was smooth sailing.
Very good, man. That's good to hear. Very good to hear. And another one from me. Look, you have been through the ringer in terms of opposition, like you referenced before. Mumford, Diamond, Josh Kuhne, Callahan, in your second MMA fight, which is definitely no easy task. Um, Looking back in hindsight, do you regret taking any of those at all?
I regret nothing, but I do regret not taking some of them as seriously as I should have. Like, I think from Blake Donnelly onwards, that was when I actually had a team behind me and I had all these different bodies to move around with, people to spar with, people to mentor me, and you know all the sort of feedback you could need or want in order to reach a level that you're probably trying to reach. And but I don't regret taking those fights. I just regret losing them.
Which one would you like to get back most? I mean, Diamond's gone on to the UFC. Josh Kuhne, personally, that's for me. I'd love to see that one run back, but I'm not going to put you through that
Selfish.
again, man.
Yeah. That Josh Kuhn one was definitely my most fun fight that I've ever had. And that would probably be you got to go with the most fun one. So that would be the one that I would like to do. But in terms of wanting to get that win back, Blood Diamonds in the UFC, as you said, that would be a good one to try and get back if I ever made it there. But otherwise, yeah, would you probably have to say Coon because it's the most fun fight to make out of all of them.
Speaking of UFC, Alexander Volkanovski posted the other day, maybe yesterday actually, he reckons that UFC is coming back down to Australia early next year, man. So maybe you could get that rematch, eh?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Or we could be fighting side by side each other, because as they said, they usually like to put on the local talent on their UFC cards when they go to like Singapore or wherever they go. They usually like to get the ones that live there so they don't have to pay for travel or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, all credit to Alex. He deserved he probably deserved it. A fighter go to fight on home soil, and I'm hoping they come over because if I'm not on, it definitely be something I would love to attend and go watch.
Mate, you got to get that manager. Go find yourself a manager and get yourself on that card. Do whatever you can. 100%, brother.
If I can fight before that, if I can fight before then, I definitely that'll be the golden ticket right there because I'll be able to showcase why they would want me, even though they probably, you know, had a little peep of my last fight. But I definitely want to. The next fight will leave no questions asked. They'll definitely want me on the next UFC Australia.
And last one from me. Look, 2 years time, mate, everything goes according to your plan. Everything goes swimmingly. Where do you see yourself? Where are you? What are you doing?
2 years time, I would love to be back home. Connecting to my culture a little bit more, get my kids connecting to the culture. But either way, I still want to be involved in the sport. If I'm not competing, I would like to just be floating around the gym or being a trainer or an assistant trainer or just someone that holds pads. Anything fight related or that's involved in combat sports, I would love to still be a part of it 2 years from now.
Awesome. Mate, that's all from me. Tristan, have you got anything else for our good friend here?
No, that's a great way to end it. I think it's been a pleasure talking to you, Dimps.
It has been an
Sweet, you
absolute
too.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks
That
for
is
the
Dimps
time
Gillies.
and
No dramas, man.
and
That's
thanks
Dimps
guys.
Gillies. Holler at him on Facebook, on Instagram. Find him wherever you can. Follow the man. He's an absolute barn burner of a fighter. Always puts on a good show. And I can't thank you enough for your time, mate. Thank you very much.
Have a good day, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, brother. Bye.